National Coast Guard Museum, and Dick can tell you a little bit more about that and how the Finest Hours fits into that.
Thank you very much. I'm Dick Grahn. I'm president of the National Coast Guard Museum Association, and I have the great privilege of leading a group of committed people who are going to build the first museum for the Coast Guard. And Casey has been our biggest supporter from really the get-go when he started writing this book. Why do we need a Coast Guard museum, you ask? Well, I can give you 100 reasons, but there are a couple that I think are important. One is that the Coast Guard is the only armed service that does not have a national museum. And the other reason, really just as important, is the fact that we have a culture in the Coast Guard that Casey so exquisitely captured. It is, at its essence, a love story, for those of you who have seen it. But it's a story of devotion. Devotion to a woman, devotion to crewmates, and devotion to those people who are on the sea who are in need. You'll see that there's a saying in the book that captures the spirit of the Coast Guard, and it is that you have to go out, but you don't have to come back. And there are people tonight, in the Coast Guard, from Afghanistan to the farthest reaches of the Pacific, who are out there willing to risk their lives so that others may be saved. They need a home. Stories like this need a home. And we're going to build that home in London, Connecticut.
Reality, we have a little box over here, and with no further ado, we'll turn it down to the author of one of the best books of the year, Finest Hours, my friend Casey Sherman.
Oh God! I look around this room tonight and I see friends that I've had since I was 5. Since I was 25 and since I was 45. I haven't grown that much in all those years. So if anybody can't see me, at least you can hear me. I was born with a big voice. And as Dave said, I think I was born with a big heart as well. And you're only as good as the stories you tell. And I've been very fortunate in my life to meet the people, many of them in this room right now, who really deserve to have their stories told for generations to come, whether it's Boston Strong with the Boston Marathon bombings, and there are survivors and heroes here tonight that should all be recognized, or whether it's a Coast Guard rescue back in 1952, where you've got 4 young men who were given a suicide mission to take a small lifeboat into 80-foot seas with a simple order: save as many men as you can. Now, with the Finest Hours, I'll be very brief. I grew up on Cape Cod. I never heard the story. Thank you. All right, Cape Cod represents in the house. I grew up in Hyannis, which is only about 10 miles away from Chatham, but light years away from Chatham, where this story happened. And when Dave mentioned, I wrote my first book, A Rose for Mary, which is about my aunt, and more importantly, about my mother, who lost her sister in the